Hi, I'm Father Joe. Recently I had a medical situation that scared me pretty bad. I noticed that I seemed to be getting shorter and shorter. So I go into my doctor's office and I'll admit I was a little panicked. I said, "Doctor, you've got to help me. I swear I'm getting shorter and shorter." And the doctor said, "Hey, easy. You're just going to have to be a little patient." Sorry. Let's go to this week's question. All right. Dear Father Joe, why does the church require priests to be celibate? Are there spiritual advantages for celibacy that the rest of us don't understand? Does it do more harm than good? Doesn't the church realize that we would have more priests if celibacy wasn't required? This is a real important and a good question, and it's going to take us some time to take it apart. There are a lot of reasons why the church talks to us about celibacy. I'm going to focus on a few simply because I couldn't cover them all. I figured the best place to start is in the Catechism. Let's listen to this great quote from the Catechism. It's section 1579. Here's what it says. All the ordained ministers of the Latin Church, with the exception of permanent deacons, are normally chosen from among men of faith who live a celibate life and who intend to remain celibate for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. That's from Matthew chapter 19, verse 12. Called to consecrate themselves with an undivided heart to the Lord and to the affairs of the Lord, they give themselves entirely to God and to men. Accepted with a joyful heart, celibacy radiantly proclaims the reign of God. And that's from Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And that's some good stuff. So let's take it apart. First of all, celibacy is a sign and a means for priests to serve the Lord with undivided hearts. Now, that's not an attack on marriage. It's a statement about the focus of the priest. A married person, by virtue of their sacrament, needs to commit their total lives to their partner and to their family. All that they do needs to be geared toward that. Well, a priest isn't bound by these things. Therefore, the priest is able to more freely serve God and His people. Priestly celibacy is a great sign. You got to admit, it gets people's attention. If you ask any priest, they'll tell you that people often ask about it. And if the priest does it right, it's a good opportunity to talk about God's kingdom on earth. Now, here's an interesting thing you may want to do. Ask your priest why he chose celibacy instead of why does the church require celibacy. You'll hear some beautiful answers from your priest on that one. Hopefully, priests proclaim a message with their celibacy. They witness powerfully without opening their mouths. I hope that my celibacy shouts about a love for Jesus and a commitment. It's like Tony Campolo said once, after what Jesus has done for me, there isn't anything I wouldn't do for Him. Does celibacy do more harm than good is the question. Well, if you take the entirety of the priesthood and not the few that the media tends to focus on, I think you'll see that it does. Your priest is able to be there for you. You are your priest's family. You are the one your priest cares about. There's always human and temporal limitations. We can't be everywhere all the time, but we can do our best with our parishioners, our sheep, in a sense, as our focus. Second, and this is important, priestly celibacy is totally unrelated to the issue of pedophilia. Most priests can tell you that we hear about sexual abuse from all different sources. We hear about it and work with a lot of people who've been victims, and it's not always priests who are guilty of this crime. This is a problem with our society around us. In terms of will it help us recruit more priests, well, if you look at the numbers, there's about 69 million Catholics in this country and about 39,000 priests. Is that a problem for the church? I want to suggest that might be a problem with the world around us, with our society. Think about it. The church is a 2,000-year-old institution, and it has a message and a wisdom to offer us. Think of how often you like to talk with the elderly and hear about their life experiences. Well, the church is 2,000 years old. She's seen it all. She's got some wisdom to offer this young culture of ours in America. And it might be worth us checking out. Instead of asking the church to change to fit our culture, maybe we should ask our culture to change a little bit. I want to share with you that I remember my ordination. It wasn't that long ago. And I remember that moment of, for those of you who've seen an ordination, there's a moment where the priest lays on the floor as a sign of total surrender. It's a pretty powerful moment. My sister asked me what I was thinking of at that point, and I honestly remember as they were invoking the saints, thinking of all those saints who had gone before me, faithful priests and holy priests, saints the church has mentioned, and people, priests from my past that I suspect are saints. I felt like I was joining a great family of people, a great family of saints to serve God's church in a special way, and that brought me joy. What we don't want to do is reduce celibacy to the issue of sexuality. It's more than that. It's about proclaiming a message of total imitation of Jesus. It's about showing a culture of throwaway relationships that commitment is everything. It's about dedicating our lives to the service of people. It's all about Jesus. Enjoy another day in God's presence.